Hi everyone, welcome back to Power BI Beginner series. In the last session, we understood the Power BI interface. In today's session, we will learn what is data transformation, types of data transformation, what is Power Query and how it works, where Power Query is used, and a live demo for each type of transformation. Now let's start with what is data transformation. Data transformation means changing your raw, unclean or messy data into a format that is clean and ready for analysis. For example, if you look at this messy data, here column names are inconsistent like cust ID and join date having space. If you look at name casing is mixed and has spaces. John has space while Jane is in capital letters. If you look at dates, here dates are in 4 different formats. If you look at customer ID, one customer ID is missing, and if you look at one sales value, it is blank. Now let's clean this data. After cleaning, we have renamed cust ID to customer ID, name cleaned and converted to proper case, dates converted to standard format, sales missing value handle set to 0, customer ID added for missing records. That is what we mean by data transformation, the process of getting your data ready before analysis. For cleaning the data, there are 100 plus tools available. Most people use Excel and Google Sheet for basic data transformation. I'm sure you must be using one of them. Now let's quickly look at different type of transformation we usually perform day-to-day reporting activities. Each transformation help you clean and organize data so that your reports become meaningful and easy to work with. Now let's look at first basic transformation. Basic transformation include action like renaming columns, removing extra columns, or reordering them. For example, fixing a name like cust ID to customer ID or removing a column you don't need in the report. The next transformation you do is text transformation. In text transformation, we clean messy names or entries like removing spaces, fixing casing, or replacing inconsistent values. So John, Jane, or Rahul all look clean and consistent in the final report. The next one, date and time related transformation. Date often comes in different format. We use Power Query to standardize them and extract useful part like year, month, week, which helps in time-based analysis. Number 4, number transformation. Number transformation help us with things like rounding, dividing, or calculating new columns. For example, applying discount or computing a net price. The next one, logical transformation. Logical transformation use if-else conditions to classify or label data. For example, marking customers at premium if they spent more than 1,000. The next one, merging tables. We often join two tables together like sales and customer to bring in useful details. This is called merging, just like VLOOKUP in Excel. The next one, appending tables. Appending means stacking data from multiple files or sheets like combining Q1 or Q2 sales data into one full table. The next one, pivot, unpivot. Sometimes your data is too wide, like one column for each month. With unpivot, we convert that into a cleaner vertical format, very useful for charts and filters. The next one, grouping. And finally, we use grouping to summarize data like total sales by region or average sales per person. This is great for summarizing without writing formulas. These are the 9 core transformation types. We'll explore one by one. Once you understand these, you will be able to handle any kind of raw data confidently using Power Query. Now that we have seen the types of transformation, let's talk about the tool that makes it all possible, Power Query. Power Query is built-in feature in both Power BI and Excel used for data cleaning and transformation, all without writing a single line of code. Earlier, if we have to automate tasks in Excel, we used VBA macro for this. But now with the Power Query, you can automate your task without writing a code. To open Power Query in Excel, go to Data tab and click Get Data. Once you select your file, it will open Power Query. But as this session, we are working with Power BI, we will open in Power BI. So before we open Power BI, let's look at the report requirement and try to see what basic transformation required. So let's say you are working with customer report on a daily basis where you have customer ID, full name, age, city, phone and joining date, and you need to prepare report like this where you get customer ID, full name, city, age and joining date. To prepare this report, you are performing basic 5 transformation. You are first renaming column here cust ID to customer ID. Then you are removing column phone as it is not required for reporting. And then you are performing reorder columns where you move city before age. Then you are applying filter rows, shows only customers from Delhi. And then you are sorting the data where you are sorting the data by joining date. So how we can perform all these steps in Power Query? So let's start. Now let's open Power BI. Go to blank report. Once you click on the blank report, you can go to Home tab. Within Home tab, you will see Get Data. If your data is stored in Excel or CSV, you can select from here. We'll select Excel workbook. Once we click on it, it will redirect us for the where file is stored in our local system. We will browse to the folder where it has been stored. In our case, it is stored in the raw files with the name Basic Transformation. Once we click on it, it will start connecting and will start loading. So if you see here, we can see here 2 tables, Basic Transformation Scenario plus Report. So when Power BI connect with the Excel, it will load all the sheets as a table. For example, if in your workbook you have 10 sheets, all the 10 sheets will come here as a table. You might not require all the sheets for your data analysis. You might require 1 or 2. So based on that, you can select it. You can also preview your data here. So for example, in our case, we required only basic transformation sheet. So we'll select it. Now at the bottom, you will see there are 3 tabs here. One is load, one is transform data, one is cancel. Load, for example, when you work with the ERP system or any database where you don't require any kind of data transformation, you can directly load this in Power BI. In our case, we require data transformation, so we will click on the transform data. Once we click here, you will see Power BI will open a new window which is Power Query Editor. Similarly, it will also open in Excel. So here, before we start our transformation, let's understand Power Query interface first. Here you will see 4 areas. The first one, ribbon at the top. This is where you will find all the transformation actions we discussed earlier, like remove column, merge queries, unpivot, group by. Queries pane on the left. Here you will see all your loaded tables and queries. For example, if one sheet is coming from your Excel, one your data is stored in the CSV or some of your data is stored in database, all will be listed here. So you can load data from different data sources and load into Power Query. Data preview in the center. This shows your actual data live preview after each step. For example, if you remove any column, you will see here on live basis. On the right side, applied steps. This is the most powerful part. Every transformation is saved here step by step. Like if you delete any column, it will save it. You can rename steps, reorder them, or even delete them. Now let's start performing basic transformation. Now, if you remember, we discussed to create report like this, we have to perform 5 steps. The first one is to rename customer ID, cust ID to customer ID. Now let's rename it. For example, if you have to rename it, you can either double click here or you can right click here on the column name. It will show you here rename button. So once we will rename it, CUS customer ID. Now it has been renamed here. As soon as I renamed here, on the right side on the applied steps, if you see, it has created one step which says renamed columns. Now let's try to do another step, which is remove the phone number. As we don't require phone number for the report, we can delete it. You can either press simple delete button or you can right click here and click remove button. Again, as soon as we click the remove, you can see it has created another step on the right side, removed column. Now we can also go back how our data was looking. So for example, if I click on the renamed column, you can see we have customer ID renamed, but phone number is there. We can go back here. Again, cust ID is there. Phone is also there. Then we renamed the column. It has to customer ID. Then we remove the column joining date. Now let's perform third step, which is reorder the column. So for example, we want city before age. So either you can simply drag and drop like Excel here. So as soon as we did it, you can see another column has been created here, reordered columns. Now perform another step. As we want only city Delhi in our report, we can filter here. So there are multiple ways to filter here, like keep rows, remove column in the home tab, but here in this column itself you can filter. You can either directly filter here like Delhi, Mumbai, city Mumbai, but sometimes you want text filter by equal sign or begins with like ID or some prefix number. You can also do that, like if it ends with some specific number, you can also put that. In this case, we want data for Delhi only. We will select Delhi. Okay. Now you can see our data has been filtered for Delhi. On the right side, you can see a new filter has been created. Now let's perform our last step, which is sort by joining date. Here we want our data in descending order or ascending order. Now once we select it, you can see another step has been created here. We can also go back to the previous stages like this. For example, earlier it was filtered, before filtered it was reordered, before reordered there was removed column like phone number was removed, and this is how our data initially looked. Once we created all these steps, now this is our final output, what we were expecting on our report. Now what happens here, if you have worked with Excel, if you have to automate these tasks, you must have used VBA macro. There you used to record similarly, but you had to work with the VBA language. Here you don't have to work with any code or you don't require any coding language. Behind the scene there is M code runs which create itself. I'll show you here. Go to a home button. Within home you will see advanced editor. Here you will see the steps you have performed. Power Query has automatically created the code behind it, like the change the type, rename the column, remove the column, and sorted rows. Now you can also go back to previous stage. For example, you accidentally applied some steps, but you want to go back to that step. For example, you want all the records, not just Delhi. So you can delete this step. You will get all your records. You can also go back to the last stage. So we will again apply Delhi filter here and then again sort. Now, so if you need this data, you can apply here, like go to close and apply. So we'll go here, close and apply, apply, close. So once you close and apply, that means you are closing the window and applying the logic you have written here. Apply means you can apply the logic, but you want to continue your work. So we'll click close and apply. So once we click on the close and apply, Power BI will start loading all the data we have in our report development area. Now you can see in the table view on the left side, in table view, you can see the report we were expecting. Now let's do one thing. Let's add data from the backends. For example, right now we have this number of records. We will add more records here. Now we have added this number of records. Now how to get this report? Now we will simply go to Home tab. We will refresh. Now you can see we have got all the records here automatically, and Power BI has applied all the steps we had written. So what happens? The code we had written in Power Query was automatically applied every time we refresh our data. So right now, if you want to go back to your transform tab or you want to apply further steps, you can click on the transform data at the home tab, go to transform data. Here it will bring you back to the Power Query editor and you can apply the further logic if required. Let's try to understand one more important concept of Power Query. Although order of these steps doesn't matter. For example, you can rename first or remove later on or sort later on. So for example, in this case, let's sort first, filter the records and reorder in the last. You can see we got the same report. It doesn't matter when we created the step. But sometimes this matters. Let's take an example here. For example, we are working here for the city. Now, let's say city, we will rename it to City of India. Now you can see we have renamed it to City of India. Now let's delete this column. Now we have deleted. Now you can see our report is working as expected and removed it. Now we'll change the sequence here. Now let's say for example, we want to remove first and then rename the column, which is not possible. Now you can see we got an error here. City of the India of the table wasn't found because when the last time we applied the removed step, the name of the column was City of India, not city. Here right now it is city and then we are trying to remove this column here. But the column name when we created this step was renamed to City of India. That's why we got this error. So that's why sometimes sequence matters. So if you go back to M code, we can bring back to it to the last. Now you'll see we have got it correctly. Now if you go to M code, advanced editor, here you will see the code when it was written, we renamed it City of India, and then when we are trying to remove the column, is City of India. But if we bring this step first, at that time the name of the column is city, not City of India. So be careful when you are trying to perform such kind of transformation. In such kind of transformation, sequence of your steps matters. Now let's look at text transformation. Text transformation help us clean, standardize, and reformat text values. For example, if you look at this raw data, here you will see it's in messy format and we need customer report with negative comments like this. If we see at data challenges here, name age not in proper format, first and last name in different columns. We want a single column with full name. Product name contains year at the end, and in the customer feedback, we want to check which is positive and which is negative comment. We will create a basic formula to identify this. Now let's go back to Power BI and connect to Excel file. Now click Home button, go to Get Data, click Excel file. We will browse to the folder where our file is stored. We'll click Text Transformation. Once we click here, it will list all the sheets as a table, we will select tag transformation and click on transform data. Once you click on the transform data, it will redirect us to Power Query Editor, where we will see our data like this. Now you can see we have customer ID. First name is not in required format. Last name, product, and customer feedback. We'll apply transformation one by one. So first, let's remove trailing and leading spaces within name. So if you look at the top button, here we have home, transform, add data. You will see different kind of transformation we can apply here. Within home tab, we can connect to data source, we can keep rows, remove rows, split row columns, different kind of transformation. And in transform tab, you will see column label transformation. For example, if you want to change data type, or we want to rename any column. So for this particular requirement, let's trim this. For example, if you have worked with Excel, you must be aware of trim function, where it removes trailing and leading spaces from the column. So let's do the same. We'll select the column. We'll browse to transform tab. Within transform tab, you will see one option called format. We will click on the format. Within format, you will see one option is there, trim. Once we click here, it will automatically trim the column. Now you can see all the leading and trailing spaces has been removed. On the right side, you will see one step has been created. Now you see we have name is not in proper format, like Priya is in capital letters while Rahul is in small. So let's make it in proper format. Again, we will go to transform tab. Within transform tab, we'll see a format. Within format, you can see one function which is capitalize each word. Once we click here, now you can see this is in required format. On the right side again, you can see one step has been created. Now we have to combine first name and last name into a single column. In Power Query, you will find multiple way to transform a single step. For example, here in this case, we can create a calculated column like Excel, or we can use Power BI AI feature, which is called go to add column from example. For example, first, maybe sometimes you are not aware of the how to use which function of Power Query, and you are not able to write a function or all that. Power Query provides column from example feature, where you just provide sample to Power Query. Power Query automatically detect what you are trying to do and will apply the logic. Let's see at this example. We'll select from all columns. Once we click here, it will open a new column here which tell us enter sample value to create a new column. Power Query want us to create a sample value here so that it can understand what we are trying to achieve, and that will create automatically a new column. So we'll go here. We will type here like we want to combine first name and last name like this, Priya Sharma. So once we do this, we'll enter and click OK. Now you will see Power Query has automatically created a formula for us, where it has combined Priya and last name into a single column like this, Priya Sharma Rahul Kumar. Now we'll give it as a full name. Now you can see. Now let's move on to the another transformation, which is product here. Now we want to split the column. We don't want this year at the end. We only want product name. Again, you can apply, for example, you don't know how to split, what are the different way to split the column. Again, you can use column from example. You don't have to write any code. You don't have to apply any formula here. You can just give an example here and it will automatically split the column. But here we are explaining you each transformation. So we will go to split transform and we'll show you how we can do it. Now let's select product column. And let's go to transform tab. On the transform tab, you will see split column. Now we can split a column by multiple way, like delimiter sign, like hyphen, bracket, or number of characters. So for example, we want only 5 characters from any column, or by lowercase to uppercase. So there are different way we can split a column. Here we want to split by delimiter sign. So Power Query will provide you a few standard delimiter sign like colon, comma, equal sign. Or if it is not here like pipe sign, you can select custom. We'll put here, in our case it's hyphen. Then we'll select each occurrence of the delimiter sign. Now we'll click here OK. Now you can see Power Query has automatically splitted the column into two, where the first one is product name, the last one is year. We don't want this column, so we can delete it. Now we'll rename it to product name. Now you can see product name. The next transformation is customer feedback. Here we will try to identify which comment is negative and which comment is positive. We can achieve this by creating a formula. Let's look at how we can do it. So let's go to add column. Here we want to create a custom column. We will click here. Similarly, if you have worked in Excel, you would know that the way you create formula in Excel, similarly, you can also create here. So in this session, we are trying to cover Power Query. So I won't explain how to create a formula, but I'll explain the logic here. For example, if it contains thank, good, or great word, that means it's a positive. Although it's a hypothetical scenario, there are multiple ways to identify whether a comment is positive or negative. Here we are trying to achieve with a simple way. Like if it contains like OK and OK comment, it's a neutral. If it contains issue, replace, problem, scratch, that means it's a negative comment. We'll click here, OK. Now you can see it has created a new column here which says this comment is positive. The product was not satisfactory, which is negative. So similarly, you can create such advanced formulas here. In this session, we are trying to cover basics of Power Query. In future project where we will cover advanced concept of Power Query, we'll explain how to create formula like this. Now let's rename it. We can write it as customer sentiment. Now you can see we have a new column has been created here. Now let's say we don't want this first name and last name, as we already have the full name column. So we'll remove these two columns. Now full name, let's drag it to second column so that we have in proper format. Now customer ID, full name, product name, then we have customer feedback, and then customer sentiment. So let's say we want only customer sentiment where it's negative. Now we have a report here with the customer negative feedback, and we can take action. On the right side again, you can see whatever we have applied, Power Query has created all the steps. If you want to go back, you can also look at the code behind it has been created. So you can see the formula we written here is also converted to Power Query M code. Now each step we performed here is converted to M code. Sometimes due to some error, if you lost your file and you saved your M query, you can also copy it and you can paste here. All the steps will be applied automatically. You don't need to apply one by one. Now let's try to close and apply. Now you can see we have file with negative comment. Now let's try to add new records here. We'll go here. We will copy paste the data here, and let's give it some different name. Data soft 365. Give it as a name like this. do here, save it. Now let's go back to Power BI. Now we will refresh here. Refresh. Now you can see Datasoft has whatever negative comments has been come here. Now let's look at date transformation. Date transformation means fixing the date format, breaking it into useful part like year, month and quarter, and using it to calculate values like how many days something took. Let's look at this raw data. We have three date columns: purchase date, delivery date and today's date. But all three are written in different format. Some use slashes, some use hyphens, and some are not in the correct format at all. Because of this, we can't do proper date analysis. For example, we can't find out which orders are due today or how many days it took to deliver an order. So we will create report like this where we will fix all date formats, extract year, month and quarter from the purchase date, calculate days between purchase date and delivery date, and finally check if an order is due for today. Let's go to Power BI and perform these date related transformation step by step. Now let's click Get Data, Excel Workbook. We will go to Date Transformation. So we'll click Date Transformation. It will connect to the file. We'll select Date Data. Now we will click Transform Data. Once we click Transform Data, it will take us to Power Query Editor. Now if we look at purchase date, delivery date and today, these are not in required format. So we will convert it into proper format. As we earlier said, at the top you can see all types of transformation. So for example, here you see table related transformation, then column related, text to column related transformation, number related and date time related transformation. Similarly, we will go here date time related transformation. We'll select date and we will do the transformation. So first of all, before doing date related transformation, we need to change data type of it. So here you can see it has been detected as a text. We will convert it into a date. We click replace current. Now Power BI has automatically converted it into a proper format. Similarly, we will do and change the data type to date. Replace current. We'll select here date. Replace current. Now in the change data type, you will see all the data types have been changed to the data type we have defined. Now we have these dates here. Now let's try to extract year, month and quarter from the purchase date. Let's go to transform. Here we have date. Transformation. We'll click date. Now for example, we need year from the purchase date. We'll click select year, go to year. We selected it. Now we got year for the purchase date. Now you can see it converted our existing row to year, but we don't want this. We want a new column here. We don't want to convert existing column and get year. So that is why we can delete it. That's why we have another column here, add column. We want to transform the data, but we want a new column here. That is why you will see in transform tab the similar kind of function. The difference between transform and add column is that when you do transformation within the same column like we did here, it does transformation on the same column. But sometimes we want to retain our existing column and want to create a new column. In that case, you can select add column and here we want year now. So what will happen? It will create a new column here. Now you can see we have our purchase date here, but we have new column with the year of purchase date. Now let's extract month for purchase date. We'll select month. Now you can see we have month here. Now let's try to extract quarter of the purchase date so that we can do quarter related analysis. Now you can see the quarter on the right side. whatever transformation we are performing, you can see a new step has been created. Now let's see what all we have. For example, if you need day, you need name of the day. You can do name of the day. It will give us the name of that day. So you can do different kind of extraction from the date function. Now let's try to perform one calculation with another date. For example, in this case, we need days between purchase date and delivery date. We need to create a new column. Again, we'll go to add column. We don't have direct transformation here to extract or subtract dates function. We will simply go to custom column here. We'll go to custom column like Excel here, and we will go to purchase date, delivery date minus purchase date. Once we click here, you can see we have got date here. Although it has different data type, we can change it to proper number. Now you will see here we have got dates between purchase date and delivery date here. Now we have 3, 4, 2, 122 days. Now let's try to see which orders are pending for today. So we have today date here. Now let's try to extract it. So for example, we want to see where delivery date is matching with today's date. That means the order is pending for today. Again, we will do similar analysis. We will go to custom column. We can also rename from here. For example, due today. We will go here delivery date, today's date minus delivery date. Let's ensure we have selected correct column. Now you see it has calculated days between, but we'll change data type of it to whole number so that we have proper number. Now here you can see we have for this particular order delivery date and today days is the same. That's why we have 0 here. Now we can select where our due date is 0. Now we'll select here 0. Now as per this, these two orders are pending and we can take action. Now let's close and apply. It will start applying the record. Let's go to date. Now here you see there are two records which are pending for today. So let's go back to Excel file again and try to add few more records. Let's copy these two. Let's make our due dates where it's as per this. Now we should have 6 records where our due order are due for today. So let's close it. Now let's refresh our data set. You can see we have 6 records which are due for today. Now let's look at number transformation. Number transformation means applying basic calculations and formatting on numeric data like rounding numbers, calculating columns, or converting decimals to percentage. Let's take a very simple sales data. This data may look clean but incomplete for sales analysis. If you see here, MRP has unnecessary decimal places. Discount is not in percentage format. Here we don't have net price of the product and we also don't have total purchase value. Now let's go to Power BI and apply these transformation step by step. Now select Excel workbook. We will browse to the file. Now number transformation. We will select here. Again we will select number sheet here. We'll click on transform data. Now you can see here data has been loaded to Power Query Editor. Here you can see MRP is having multiple decimal places which we don't require for our reporting. Now let's select MRP here As we have already discussed, at the top you will see different kind of transformation. We are covering one by one. At the top you will see query related transformation, table related transformation. In the transform tab, you will see column related transformation, text related transformation, which we have already discussed, then number related transformation. Here we will go, before going into it, let's change the data type of it. Here we have it's coming as decimal number. Let's select it as a fixed decimal number. Once we select it, here you will see it always prompt you first time when you change data type, replace current or add a new step. Here, as we said, whenever you make any changes, a new step is created here. But when Power BI connect to any data source, it applies few steps automatically. Like you can see here, there are 4 steps has been applied automatically, like source, navigation, prompted headers and change type. So whenever you connect to any data source, Power BI based on data automatically applies data type. But sometimes these data type may be wrong. So you will have to correct it. In this case, we don't require decimal number. We require fixed decimal number. So we'll say replace current. We don't want to create a new step. We want to change only the step which Power BI created. Now you can see we have here fixed decimal number. But again, we required rounding up. So if we go to transform tab on the number transformation, here you can see we have different kind of transformation available for number, like statistics, where we can take sum, minimum, maximum, standard, where we can add, multiply to a specific column. We can do scientific calculation. Similarly, we can do rounding here. We want rounding up. Now you can see here we have rounded up, but again as we have rounded up here, we don't require these decimal places for our calculation. We can remove it by whole number. Once we select whole number, now we don't have any decimal number here. Now let's look at another column. Now we have discount here, which is not in percentage. Again, we can change data type of it. Go to transform, change data type to percentage. Once we select here, you can see the discount percentage had been changed to percentage. Now let's calculate. We need discount amount for this. So let's first get what is the discount amount. We'll create a calculated column, as we don't have direct transformation to apply a calculation on 2 columns. We will have to create a new column. As we already discussed, whenever you have to create a new column, you can go to add column at the top. Here you will see different way to apply a logic to a new column. In this case, we'll go to custom column, where we will be writing our own logic. So here we'll create MRP multiplied by discount percentage. Let's select OK. Now you can see we have got discount amount. We'll rename it to discount amount. Now we got discount amount here. Now let's calculate net price of the product. Here we have MRP. Now we have discount amount. Let's again create a new custom column here, where we'll say MRP minus discount amount. Now you can see here we have got a net price of the product. Now let's again rename it. Now we have net price. Now let's go back. Now we need total purchase of this order. For example, here we have laptop. MRP is this. Quantity is 1. We need total purchase. In this case, we have 3 and 2. So let's go back to custom column again. We'll go here. We will do MRP minus, sorry, we are calculating here total purchase. So we'll go net price multiplied by quantity. So we got here total purchase value. Now you can see here we have all the calculation required for analysis. Now we can see here this order having total purchase value 53,100 because we have only one quantity, but here you can see for this product we have 28,500 because we have quantity here is 2. Similarly for this one. Now you can see these are the basic transformation we have covered. There are more advanced scenarios for number calculation which we will cover over the period of time in next project. Logical transformation means applying conditions to your data. Let's look at this simple sales data. You want to know who are premium customers, which order is high value, which product got a big discount. Do we need to charge shipping? So here we can apply logic in our data. If a customer spends more than 20,000, mark at premium. If quantity is 3 or more, mark as bulk order. If discount is more than 15%, mark as high discount. Logical transformation are not about changing the data, it's about adding intelligence to it by tagging on values to get information. Now let's go to Power BI and apply these conditions. Now let's open the file. We will open here our logical transformation file. We will select, by now I'm sure you must be familiar with how to browse to any Excel file, how to select our tables. I'll simply click here, transform data. It will open query editor here. Now you can see here we have product, we have MRP, discount, quantity and net price. We will select it as a percentage. Now you see replace current. Now let's try to apply logical functions. First we have MRP here. We will try to identify which is premium or budget product. How we can identify this? If net price is greater than 20,000, then it's a premium product, else it's a budget. So let's try to create it. As we already said, if we have to create any column, we can go to add column here. We can create custom column, but before creating custom column, let's understand Power BI built-in feature conditional column. Here we can use direct function where we can apply a logic. So let's say we are saying if net price, we'll select a column name here. Then it says operator whether equals, does not equal, is greater than, is less than. So here we want if it is greater than 20,000, then we want to make it premium product, else we want it as budget. Now if you look at this, this is called conditional column. Here by default it will ask you if condition and then else condition. If you have multiple if condition, you can add like if it is not 20,000, if it's below 20,000, and if you want to categorize more like premium, budget, low category, you can also do a further categorization. So for now we just want one categorization here. So if logic says if net price is greater than 20,000, then mark it as a premium, else budget. So we'll simply click here OK. Now you can see we have a column created here, and you can see our net price here. It is 53,000. We already got premium here. Then all are below 20,000. We got our budget. So now let's rename here. We want product category. So now we have a column here, product category. Now let's try to create another column. We want to make whether order is bulk or regular. So let's create another calculation here. If order quantity is greater than 3, that means it is a bulk order, else it is a regular product. Now this is conditional column we discussed. This is one way to achieve this. There is another way we can create, which is custom column again. Here we can write our formula. So for example, we want to categorize if quantity column is here. We are saying if quantity is greater than and equal to 3, then this is syntax here. Then if you have worked with Excel, I'm sure you must be aware of how to write formulas like this. If you are new, over the period of time, we'll explain how to create formulas in Power BI. So here, for now, you can just look at the syntax and the logic we are trying to create here. So we are saying then bulk else. Similarly, here we are writing formula by our own. It's a regular, or we can make here order category. Now once we select OK here, now you can see we have regular. Here we have quantity is equal to or greater 3. That's why we have bulk. Now here we can do further analysis. Now let's go try to create another formula. For example, we want to check if our let's say we want to check special offer tag if quantity is greater than and equal 3 and discount is greater than 15%. So how to create multi-column condition? Then we will require custom, as we already said, conditional column can offer multiple if conditions, but formula is will be helpful when you have more complicated business logic. As you can write your own formula or multiple conditions, it's easier to write here than using custom way to apply conditional column. So in this case, we will use custom column as we have to apply condition on multiple columns. So let's try to create this formula now. We are saying if quantity, let's go here, if quantity is greater than and equal 3. Another criteria we want to add, and discount is greater than and equal to 15%. So here we will write 0.15 as in criteria we don't use percentage. Percentage is just a way of formatting the data. Here we will write the actual value. Then we want to apply special offer to it. Else we want standard we want to apply standard offer. Click OK. Now you can see we have another column created here. We can give it as a name. So here you can see how we have created logical function based on our column. So here we have more data analysis we can do. For example, we want to check which which products are premium category and whether offer is being applied to it or not. So for example, we want to check which order we have applied which offer. So here you can see special offer applied to this because we have here discount is 15% and quantity is also greater than 3. So you can apply multiple logical functions to different criteria as per your data set. Now you can click here refresh button. If you add more records, it will automatically apply all these conditions we have written here and you can do a further analysis on this. Now let's look at merge transformation. So far we have worked with single tables and performed all transformation within that one table. But in real business scenario, data is usually spread across multiple tables. For example, you might have one table for customer orders and another for customer details like name, phone number, and city. Now, to create a meaningful report, we need to fetch data from both the tables and combine them. If you have worked with Excel, you have probably used VLOOKUP function to pull data from another sheet. If you are from SQL background, you must be familiar with SQL joins. In Power BI, we call it merging tables. So if you look at this sample data, here we have order table and customer table. And final report, we are combining these two values based on common key, which is customer ID. So in this video, we will understand why we need merge tables. Let's open Power BI. Now let's open Excel file. Let's say customer and order details stored in the same Excel file. We will go to merging tables sheet. Now you can see we have customer table here and then we have order table here. Now we will click on transform data. Now you can see we have order details here. Now if we click here customer, now one more thing we can discuss here. Now if you look at this data, Power BI did not identify our customer ID, name, city as a column header, and it has given us wrong column 1, column 2, column 3, which is coming as value header coming as values here. This can be a common cases in your case. So if you face such challenges, you can use one of the transformation which calls use first row as a header, which will automatically convert first row as a header. On the right side you can see it has converted that to header. Now let's come to the agenda of our merge transformation. Let's see here we have customer details table where we have 1, 2, 3, 5 the customer ID. In order table, if you look at, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you can see customer 5 has not placed any order, and if you look at customer 4, which is not available in our order in customer details, so which is missing from our customer table data. So now let's try to use merge join here. So for example, if you are preparing a report and you need all the orders along with the customer name, so you don't want, for example, customer 5 has not placed any order, we don't care, we need only details of the customer who has placed the order. So let's go to home tab. Here on the right side you will see combine transformations. Within that you will see a merge queries. Once you click here, you will see there are two options: merge queries as new. So when you use merge queries, it will do the calculation in the same table, but we want to create a new one. So we'll create as a new. Now here you can see it is asking me which table we want to merge. The first table is our order table, then another is customer. So for example, as I already said, if you have worked as a Excel user, you know we apply VLOOKUP based on key. Similarly, if you want to fetch data, for example, C1 has product laptop. Now we need C1 details. So we will go to the customer table. We will have to search for the ID of customer 1 and get the name Priya Sharma and city is Delhi. So customer ID is our common key here. So we'll select customer ID in both the tables like this. So we are saying okay, to fetch the data between two tables, customer ID are common key. Now at the bottom you will see join kind. As I already said, there are 6 ways we can get data from two tables in Power BI. We will explain one by one. So let's start with, as we said, that we need all the order details along with customer records. So we don't want to miss any record from left. So in this case you can use left outer, all from first matching from the second. So once we click here, now you will see it has joined and with the customer table. Now you can select here which column you require. So for example, customer ID is already there, we need name and city only. Now you can see we have got customer name and customer city for 1, 2, 3. For customer 4 it is showing null here because we don't have any records of customer 4 in customer table. So you can see we don't have any records here. That is why it is showing here null. Now let's make it as a left join. Now you can see it has created a new table here. We have retained our old table here. So I hope you understood that what is the left join. Left join means get all the records from the left and matching records from the right. So in this case we got C4 because it is a left column, because we want to retain, doesn't matter whether customer ID available on the customer table or not. Now let's look at another example. Again, let's select this, go to merge queries as new. Let's select order again, table, then customer table. Now the order is our left table, customer is our right table. So let's say we want to get all the customer details, doesn't matter whether they have placed order or not. So in this case you see we have customer 5 which has not placed any order, but we want to know which customer has placed order and which customer has not. So let's apply right because we want all the records from right and matching records from the left. We will select here. Now again we will decide which is our common key here. Now customer ID is our common key here. We will select OK. Once you select OK, new table has been created here. On the right side you can see one column has been created with the customer table. Now we have to select which column we require. So at the top here you can click, we will select name and city is we required. Now you can see we have all the details of customer. We can also select okay, let's go here again. We also need customer ID. So now here you see we have all the details of customer details, but we don't have details of customer 4 here because customer 4 doesn't exist in the customer records. We have also got customer 5 here because we are looking for customer records who has not placed any order. So we can create here null. Null means there is no record for this customer. So once we select null, so we will get to know, okay, the customer 5 has not placed any order. So this is called right join. We are getting all the records from the right table and only matching records from the left table. Now there is, let's name it as right join. So let's discuss the third one, which is also important. In this one, let's say here in customer table we have customer 4 has, customer 5 has not placed any order, and here we don't have any records for customer 4 in customer table. Now we want to get only common records from the both the tables. We don't want, for example, here customer 5 has not placed any order. We don't want this. In order table we don't have customer details, so again we don't want this. We only want records which are also in customer table as well as in order table. Let's go how we can achieve this. We'll go to merge queries as new. We'll select order table, then we'll select customer. Our common key is customer ID. Now we'll select it as inner join. Now we click OK. Now you will see we got only common records from the both the tables. Now you can see C1, 2, 3 and C1, 2, 3 because only these three customer are available in the order table as well as customer table. So such kind of joins we call inner join. So we will rename it to inner . Now let's say you need all the records. Doesn't matter whether customer 5 is available in the order table or not, or whether customer 4 here is available on the customer or not. We need all the records irrespective whether they are matching or not. Let's see how we can achieve this. Again, go to merge queries, merge as new so that we get a new table. Again, we'll create here customer ID is a common key. We will select here For this we call full outer, all rows from both. Once we click here, now let's select all the tables. Now you can see here we have got C1, 2, 3, 4. Here we got 1, 2, 3, 5 as well as null. It is showing null here because we don't have any order for customer 5. Here we are getting null because we don't have any record for this customer who placed order keyboard. So this kind of join is called full join. Now let's say we want to know which customer is missing from. Let's say we have now order, now we have customer. So let's say we want to know which customer has placed the order but not available in our customer table. Now let's go here, again click merge queries as new. We will select customer table. Now let's click this. We'll select here, we'll select customer ID, common key, and this. Now you can see customer 4 has not placed. We placed the order but not available in the customer table. It will show here null. So left anti-join means those records which are not matching in the left table. In left join we get all the records. In left anti-join we get records which are not matching. So it's called now let's look, for example, now we have customer details. We want to know which customer has not placed any order. So again we can use left right anti-join here. Now let's go here, merge queries. We will select order table, then customer. Then we will select common key between these two and we will select right. You can see, let us select the records. So C5 is the customer who has not placed any order. If you are, okay, I think if you are new to these joining, this might be a bit confusing, but once you practice with, I'll suggest start with the left join, understand how it works based on a key, and then slowly move to other join. We will create a separate video explaining this in detail. As it's a basic learner, we wanted to share concepts only, how merging works, but in one video we will explain all this in details. So let me explain again how all these work so that you understand it. In left join we get all the records from the left table and matching records from the right table. Here you can see we have got all the records from left table and matching records from the right table. As C4 is not available in the customer name, it shows me null. For the right join, we get all the records from the right join and only matching records from the left table. If it is not there, it will show null. So you can see we had customer 4 who has placed the order is not here because that's not available in our right table, but we have got all the records from the right table. This is helpful when you want to know which customer has not placed the order, as well as you want to know which one has placed the order. Inner join, when you want to combine two tables and only matching records. So for example, in this case, we want to know list of customers who are also in order table as well as in customer table. Such kind of join is called inner join. Full join is used when we want all the records from both the tables. We don't care which one is matching, which one is not matching. Here you can see we have got all the records from the left table 1, 2, 3, 4. It is showing null because there is no record for 5 here, and it is showing 4 customer detail nulls because there are no records for customer 4, but we have got all the records here. This one we want to check which records are not matching with the right table. In this case, for example, C4 is the only record which is not matching with the customer table it has listed us. It is good for auditing purposes. For example, we want to know which customer is missing from the customer details so that we can update. Similarly, right join, we get records from the right table which are not available in the left join. Now let's discuss another transformation, which is append. Append means stacking data from multiple tables on the top of each other. Let's look at this sales data where data is stored in different sheets for each quarter, and you need to combine all into one to perform sales analysis. Let's look at the data first in Excel sheet. Now, if you look at this Excel sheet, we have three sheets here. For each Q1, we have quarter, we have different sheets. For Q1, we are having Q1 where we have Q1 data stored. For Q2, we have Q2 data stored. Same for Q3. Now, let's close this and open Power BI. Now, let's go to Power BI and open this workbook. We'll go to the sheet which is append table. We will open it. Now here you will see we have all three files here. So we'll select all three sheets here. We will transform and load. Once we click, all three sheets has been loaded as table. Now let's say we have to combine all these three into one table. So now let's go here. We will go at the top, you will see home tab. Within home tab, you will see combine. Within combine, you will find append queries. Here you will see two options, append queries as new. Append queries means append into existing table, and new means create a new table where append all these three. So we will create a new one. Once we select new one, here it says whether you want to combine two tables or three or more. We will select three or more because we have multiple tables. We will select all three tables like add. We'll delete Q1, Q2, Q3. We'll select here, OK. Now you will see we have all three has been combined here. Now you can see we have data for Q1. Now we have data for Q2 and Q3. All three has been combined into one. We have null values. If we have unnecessary data, we can remove it. You can select it. Now you can see. Now we have all three sheets data into a single table. Now if we add more records here, for example, let's add more records for Q3. Let's refresh here. Now you can see we have more records. Now how Power BI is working here? You have to ensure all the column names in all the three sheets are same. So it checks by column name. So for example, it will look into customer into another table and will and accordingly to that. Same for product, same for sales, same for quarter. Order of sequence doesn't matter here. For example, if you write sales first and quarter later, still it will work. So let's say in this case, let's make quarter column first. Here, let's take product last column and save it. Now let's go here and we will refresh. See, there is no change because we did not make any change in the records, but let's make few changes here. Save it, refresh. Now you can see we have all the records has been combined. It doesn't matter what is the sequence of our columns here. The only thing we have to ensure that column names are the same across all the tables or all the sheets. What happens if you create a different column? So for example, if we have in one table we have product 1, in another we have product 2, in another one we have product 3. We'll save it. We will delete. Let's delete all the tables first. Now let's go to the file again. We can also go from Power Query. So we'll go to Append Table. We'll select Q1, Q2, Q3. Will it work? Let's see. Because now we have name changed across all tables. Click OK. Now here you can see we have product 3 coming in. Here it is coming as product 1. It's coming as product 2 in Q1. So let's try to combine now. Now let's append as new multiple tables, and let's add Q2 and Q3. Now we have Q1, Q2, Q3 here. Let's append. Now it works, but it doesn't look the way we wanted. So now what happens? All the matching columns will be appended. If it doesn't match, it will create a new column for that and will mark as a null. So let's take example of Q1. So what happened here, you can see it has taken it as a customer. Product 2 has taken product 2. Sales data will be combined, but it has created new columns where it was not matching product 1 and product 3. So let's select all again here. Now if you look at Q2, because there is no product 2 name, column name as product 2 in Q2 file, so it is marked as a null here. But the value is coming for Q product 1, because in Q2 it is marked as product 1 and product 3 is also null here. So what will happen if column name doesn't match? It will create a new column and will mark those in the sheet it is not matching. It will mark as a null there, but it will combine. So if you want to combine properly, ensure that all the column names are same in all the files, although you can have different sequence of the columns. For example, customer coming first and product 3 coming later on. It will work because Power Query combines based on the column name. So far in this part, we have seen how to deal with messy data, how to merge data from other tables, and how to append rows from multiple tables. But sometimes, even when the data is clean and combined, but it's not in the right shape for analysis. Let's take this simple sales data as an example. The month-wise sales are spread across different columns like Jan, Feb, March sales. Now, if I want to create a line chart or time-based visual, it's difficult because there is no single month column. To fix this, we use Unpivot, which converts those month columns into rows. This makes it perfect for visuals. But in some reporting cases, you may need the opposite. You want to show months as a column side by side like a summary table. That's where we use pivot. Now let's go to Power BI and apply this step by step. Now let's go to Power Query. We can also open file from Power Query. This time we will open directly file from Power Query. Click New Source, Home tab and select the file. We will select the file here. Now it will connect to the sheets within that file. Click OK. Now once we click OK, it will connect here. Now if you look at this data, we have product, Jan, Feb and March. Now we have to convert these columns into rows. So simply we can select it, all these 3 columns. Now go to Transform tab. Within Transform tab, you will see in any column unpivot columns. As we said, if we have to convert column into rows, it's called unpivoting. So we will select here unpivot columns. Now you can see all the columns has been converted into rows. Now we can perform easy analysis. So for example, if you want to check what is the sales for different product in Jan month, now here we can easily see it. So now let's rename it with some meaningful name, month. Now you can do analysis, or you want to create any chart, it will be easier to create. But sometimes, let's say if you have this data and you want to convert month into columns, because this is useful when you want to summarize or want to have a single view with the month name. So you can do it by pivoting. So now select the column and go to Transform tab again. Here you will see option we have pivot column. Now we will click here pivot column. Now it is asking what values we need. Our data is stored in value column. We will select it. Now you can see the rows has been converted into column along with values. So this is useful when you want to have a single view of like a summary table. You want to show month-wise sales for a product, or you can do, if you need these month into rows, you can do unpivoting. So we have learned how to clean up data, merge from multiple tables, and reshape it using pivot and unpivot. Now let's talk about something that's very common in real reporting, summarizing data. Sometimes you don't want to see every single row. Instead, you want answer like total sales by product, total quantity by region, count of orders by customer. This is where we use something called grouping in Power Query. If you have worked in Excel, it's like pivot table. Now let's go to Power BI and apply this step by step. Now let's open the Excel file. Open the grouping sheet. Select sheet. Now you can see it has opened. We have customer, product, region, quantity and sales here. Now let's say we need here total sales by product. How we can get this in Power Query? Let's look at it. Go to Transform tab. Within Transform tab, the first tab you will see is Group By. Click it. Once you click here, you will see two options here, Basic and Advanced. Let's start with Basic first. So here we need to select the column first. For example, in this case, we need total sales by product. So which column we need? We will select it. So we need product first. Then here column name. We can give any name to it like total sales. Then we have to select operation. Here what we want sum, average, min, max, count rows or distinct rows, all rows. So let's say we need sum. Sum of what? We need product by sales. Total sales by product. So here we need total sum of sales. So we will select the column we required for the operation. So here we are saying we need sum of sales for the product. So once we click here, you will see we got here product wise sales. Similarly, we can apply another logic. So for example, we need total quantity. So we can create multiple tables here, but we can duplicate the table here. So Control C V. Now you can see we have duplicated our sales data. Now we'll remove the steps here. Now we got the table in previous stage. So for example, in this case, let's duplicate again here so that we can apply third one. You can Control C and V. So let's go here. Now in this table, we need total quantity by region. Again, we will go to Transform tab, Group By here. Now let's try this time Advanced tab. So here in Basic, you can see we can select only one column here. But sometimes we may require like product and region wise sales. How we can get it? Let's go here. Here we can add multiple groupings. For example, we are saying, okay, we need product wise. Then we need a region wise total sales. We will name here total sales. What we need? Sum of sales. Again, for example, we need product wise, region wise, but this time we need sum of quantity. Again, we will add aggregation here. We can say total quantity. Again, we need sum of what? Let's say we need sum of quantity. Let's say again we need product and region wise. Okay, let's close this. Here we got, you can see we got product wise, region wise, total sales and total quantity. Similarly, you can get other, like for example, you want to know what is the highest sales for product and region wise. So let's say Max. Here we can see, okay, sorry, I think I selected wrong column. Okay, I selected customer here. I'll select here sales. Now you can see this is the highest sales made for laptop in North region. Now let's try to create another KPI. Let's see order placed by the customer. So we'll go again group by. We will select here customer. This time we need count of, let's say we need count rows for customer. So we want to see how many records has been placed by a customer. So we'll click here. Now we can see it says Priya has placed 2. Rest of the customer has placed only 1. So if you look at our data, you can see here Priya has placed 2 order. So in this way you can apply multiple different kind of calculation as per your report requirement. Thanks for watching this part. In this part we have covered complete transformation. We started with basic transformation where we covered how we can apply simple trimming, how we can apply uppercase, lowercase, how we can sort the data. In text transformation we applied how we can apply text related. Similarly in date, how we can get date, quarter from different date. In number, similarly in logical, how we can apply logical transformation. Then we understood merging, different kind of merge join like left, right, inner, full. Then we learned about how to append Q1, Q2, Q3 different tables into one table. Then we understood how we can shape our data in different way in Power Query. Then at the last we understood how we can summarize our data by different parameters like total sales, total quantity, or we need average sales, average quantity. So different kind of aggregation we can apply. You know what's the best part about learning Power Query? Once you learn it, you can use it in multiple Microsoft platforms. Let me show you where exactly it helps. If you are a Power BI developer, you use Power Query daily. If you are a Excel reporting, Power Query is right inside Excel for report automating. If you are an ETL developer, Power Query logic applies in ADF and Microsoft Fabric. And if you work with the Power Apps or automate, Power Query helps you build data flow easily. One tool, multiple platforms. Learn it once, use it everywhere. If you would like to practice everything shown in this video series step by step, we have prepared complete content for you. Each part in the series has its own folder with instructions, raw data files and Power BI files so you can follow along easily at your own pace. For example, if you go to our part 4 of this series, you will see we have 3 folders. The first one is instructions folder. Here if you open the instructions file, it has all the steps we have discussed like the basic transformation. You will see step-by-step guidance along with images. Similarly, raw files contain all the raw files we used in this part like basic transformation, text transformation and number transformation. And in Power BI folder, you will find completed Power BI file we have created in this part. To get access, just visit datasoft365.com or email us at datasoft365@gmail.com. We will send you everything you need to start learning hands-on.